are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. We're that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture that you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And we're going to, we waited enough time, Brock. We didn't do like some of the other shows out there where, hey, this movie came out yesterday. Let's spoil everything.
Yeah, no shit.
We gave you a few weeks.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen it yet,
might want to watch it before you listen to this episode.
Okay, we'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, that's it. Just so you know, we're going to be talking about the Batman.
And the spoiler warning's in full effect.
You're going to see the heading of our podcast, so you know.
Maybe.
Yes.
You might just be on auto shuffle on your
you're like,
podcast
ooh,
viewer.
What's this? So, yes. The Batman.
The Batman.
What were you thinking whenever you walked out of the theater?
That it was good. It was a top tier Batman movie.
No shit.
Yeah.
100%.
It was. I would say it's in my top 3.
That's
Yep.
I don't think I've thought of it that way before. I do love the Adam West Batman 66. I do like the Keaton. Yeah. I mean, I like all the Christian Bale ones, and that's I don't talk about the Clooney one, but I guess it's got to be up there.
Yeah,
I think it's got a lot of room to grow.
Well, for sure, and I think that's one of the things they did very smartly. Was make this an early Batman.
Yes.
They mentioned it multiple times throughout the movie that it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Of him,
He kind of did his
fighting
Jesus
crime.
thing. Yeah. He took off before he was 30.
The prodigal son returned.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same way. I mean, we were walking out and it was just like, holy shit.
Also one of the more realistic ones.
Yeah.
By far. I know Bale's were pretty realistic.
Yeah.
I think that's something they did differently was they brought that in,
Yeah.
But I would say this is even more realistic, more gritty. For
yes.
Sure.
I think he was a little bit more, as a Batman, he was a more brutal because he wasn't controlled yet.
Right.
So they really kind of showed that off a little bit more, kind of where he was still just pissed off.
Yeah.
And just he wasn't grown up.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool.
Absolutely. And I hope I think that they've signed him to a multi-movie deal already, correct?
Hopefully, yeah.
I think
so.
they had.
Yeah.
And, don't quote me on that because I don't have it in front of me, but I thought that was the case. And I would like to see him grow more as a Bruce Wayne. Because his Bruce Wayne was kind of shitty. And I don't mean like the acting was shitty. I don't mean he's just kind of a shitty kid. You know what I mean? Like he's so angry. Yeah. That's what got in front of everything.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking of anything else.
Right.
And, that is a very good point you made up because they really spent the time that he was spending the extra time being the Batman.
Right.
Versus being Bruce Wayne, which they alluded to a couple of times. So, yeah, he still didn't know how to be. He
didn't know how to put on the Bruce Wayne mask.
Yeah, the duality of them.
Yes, the duality of the superhero.
But I thought, overall, it was a great movie. And I think it was general, because I went and saw it with 4 or 5 people,
Sure.
5 or 6, no, 7, something like that. There was a lot of us, 9. That's how much it was. And everybody left saying the same thing. I was like, damn, that was a really good movie.
Mm.
And some people are comic book fans, some people weren't. So,
Yeah.
I think it has a mountain of potential.
For sure.
And I think Pattinson has a mountain of potential with his character.
And it was a good standalone movie in and of itself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't need a sequel. If that was the only Batman movie they made with Pattinson,
perfect.
it was good.
Yep. It's a Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't need a sequel.
Yep. But it left room for it, of course.
You're always going to. You're always going to see that with Batman movies. They're going to try to build that franchise like they did in '89,
Right. And I know we've talked about it in the past on the show. I have respect for Pattinson because after he did those Twilight movies and all that, he went and did a bunch of independent films. Not a bunch, but selected good independent films to do.
Yeah.
And worked on his acting chops.
Yeah, which the way I look at the characters that were in this, the older actors and the ones that were playing these other established characters like Gordon and Falcone, Penguin, they are more seasoned actors technically, but they fit their roles 100%, and there doesn't need to be any other growth, I don't think.
Sure.
Gordon maybe, and I like Jeffrey Wright, but Jeffrey Wright is a great actor, and I think whenever he puts these glasses on for Gordon, he's locked in.
Yeah.
Unlike, I'm trying to think of who. Of course, yeah, the old Batman's Commissioner Gordon was just a weirdo. You know what I mean? Wasn't like a friend.
Oh,
so they didn't
like
really
in the '66 Batman.
No. Yeah, what was it? Batman '89. Remember?
Oh, okay.
Wherever it was like that guy, you never really got like Jim Gordon like you got with Gary Oldman, which I thought Gary Oldman, brilliant casting.
That was perfect.
But Jeffrey Wright kind of does a little bit different.
But this is, I think. And quote me if I'm wrong, or don't quote me if I'm wrong. That's stupid. But correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time in a movie that we saw like them work together in the same, like in a way that we saw it in this movie.
Yes, yeah, not like the Gary Oldman. We knew they were working together, but not like this. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna, here's this, and I'm gonna punch you.
Yeah, he's like,
you're
this,
gonna punch me, or whatever.
Yeah, ultimate trust. Because they're like, yeah, all right, I fucking trust you. You're the only person I trust,
Right.
So, which again, I think Jeffrey Wright in that role, I think that role has to be that. The Jim Gordon has to be kind of like learning on his own.
Right.
But yet still knows a lot more, in the grand scheme of things.
Sure.
Just like John Turturro, as Falcone. I mean,
That was a perfect casting, too.
No shit.
And I thought it was really cool. Well, we'll get to that in the story. But of his character development, because that was from like a story in the comics. But I don't know that it was actually, I don't think it was actually canon. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
And there's a couple things like that in this movie where I'm like, oh, that's good homage.
Yeah.
To a different story,
Yeah, they do throw in certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I really, the whole kind of gang aspect that they had there too. That was kind of an allusion to, of course, The Dark Knight Returns in a way. You know what I mean? But they didn't have leaders, so it was just like a whole bunch of gangs.
Right.
Like in the comics, you have like the fucking Penguin gang and shit like that,
Well, and I think this is kind of pre that, though, right? Like before that, these are just like street gangs. Like that's what he was fighting at the time, early on, especially. And you can tell he took a lot of inspiration from like Frank Miller, Year One.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same story by any means, but
no, the same kind of attitude with it.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. It was, we know Batman. as an audience, if you're really, really into this stuff. I mean,
even if you're not. I mean,
Yeah.
the bat symbol is one of the most recognizable symbols in the world.
Yeah, besides Xerox.
And everybody knows, like, the story.
Yeah, everybody
You know?
knows, And God damn, what was that?
I don't know.
That was my mouth troll. The world really did look like decay in a very, very like literal sense of like what you would see out there in an inner city, big city, lots of crime, everything's just crap. You know what I mean?
Right.
The old is falling apart, and nobody's really picking up the pieces.
Well, and because this is before he decides to do anything with his money to invest in the city like his parents did.
Right. And, they've always kind of, just in these last two franchises, they threw in the train and the tram and all this other stuff like that. And like this one has a train that meets in the center. So that's kind of a unifying characteristic of all of that stuff.
Sure.
Even back, I think, which movie were they talking about how they were, it must have been a Christian Bale one, whenever they were talking about.
Where he's on the train and he's like, no.
No, when they were talking about how Wayne Manor used to be kind of like part of the Underground Railroad or something like that. What was that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they used to run or help slaves through. I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I'm pretty sure it was that. It had the gothic feel, but not over the top like.
Not Burton style.
Not Burton style.
But it was definitely Gotham in the fact, like you said, of the dark. Like they always say, Metropolis is New York City during the day. Gotham is New York City at night.
There you go. Yeah, and they're across the bay from each other, apparently.
Yeah, they're two different places.
Right in the middle of Kansas.
Here's like the best of everything, and here's the worst.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a bay that like that. That didn't happen until Snyder, I don't think.
No. Yeah. They're like, I'm going to go across the bay. What?
Gotham's right there?
This whole fucking time. Where the fuck was Superman? It took him to go to a fucking party for that shit? To figure out who it was? I did watch that one the other day too. Kind of in preparation for Batman's. I really like the sandbox that they have because it's a very, very good one to play in. You have so much. I know some of the aspects were kind of in more of the Snyder, not Snyder.
Nolan.
Yeah, Scott Snyder, the writer.
The writer, yeah,
for the New 52 Batman.
Sure.
Which I did. Read the first 2 years. Yeah. I think, which was really good.
Absolutely.
The Court of Owls things were just
phenomenal.
That was fucking badass. Yeah. So the more I get along, I can see now what they took from.
Sure.
Because, of course, all the other ones, that's the 80s Batman and blah, 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 right? But this one really did have a really good feel to it.
Yeah, I'm interested. They made the Batman Year One animated movie.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
It was. I mean, it was right out of the graphic novel, which was awesome, or out of the comic, you know what I mean? But I think now when this one comes to, video, I'll watch them in a row.
Okay, let's see.
I think they did make a Batman Year Zero too.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever read that.
No, I saw that the other day, I think, on something. Doing research or something, I don't know.
Sure. What'd you think of Zoe Kravitz?
Okay, my notes on that, overall good. Room to grow.
Okay.
Catwoman was in the very first Batman comic book.
Sure.
She was a major part of that, along with the Joker.
Yeah.
So I think she was really always going to have a place. In this one, the way they tied it to the mob and everything else.
So, yeah, that's straight from the comics too. That's
when you were saying
yeah,
it was kind of
yeah.
like the Elseworlds type
well,
of a deal.
and I don't remember if it was the Elseworlds now, but it might have been where Carmine gets shot and then Thomas helps him. It's definitely in a comic. I've read that.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't remember. I think it was something outside of canon where Catwoman was related to him. Maybe it was the whole thing, because I know that she's been tied into the mob family. She was a part of the mob family.
Yeah, I don't think I really ever paid attention to her.
But there's
backstory.
ties there to different stories, for sure,
Yeah.
in the comics. So I thought that was super cool. And John Turturro as Carmine Falcone was like a perfect casting, too.
Come on, man. He's firing on all cylinders in like last couple of years. I mean, he's doing really good.
Sure.
I mean, that show Severance, he's doing really good on too. And it's weird that we watched 2 shows before we went inside. Our Flag Means Death and Severance, and they both had people that were in the Batman. I was like, oh damn, that's a weird coincidence.
Back to Zoe Kravitz.
Yes.
Best Catwoman I've seen in a movie.
Think so?
Over Michelle Pfeiffer.
Ooh, that's a tough call. Yeah, not campy.
No.
You know, like Michelle Pfeiffer was.
No.
She was campy, you know.
Sure.
She had that feel. I still
agree.
I still think that Batman Returns was a great movie. I think they should have ended them right there. They weren't going to do another Tim Burton. I thought it was an awesome movie. I thought it was more comic booky, and they brought the comic book. And that's a weird way to say it, more comic booky. It's more
They were
fantasy.
attaching bombs to penguins
Yeah, it was
to
kind of
send
goofy.
through the town.
Yeah, it was goofy.
Yeah, it was goofy.
But it was still a great movie.
Sure.
Just like Zoe Kravitz, she did a really good job in the role because she brought more humanity to it than, say, Michelle Pfeiffer did.
Right.
Because Michelle Pfeiffer was like...
Or
really,
Anne Hathaway. Even.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway was just kind of like, I'm a thief.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I'm real sexy.
Watch out, suckers.
But no, I thought like her physicality was really good. I love the scenes where she's going across the rooftop.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, this is good stuff. And I'm sure some of that's editing. But
Oh, of course. Or a stunt woman.
right.
But no. That was another good part of it. It was she was very grounded too, so she had her own grudges and things like that.
And she was competent.
Yes.
That's
so
the other
she
thing I
wasn't
liked about
learning. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think she is learning, but I think she's almost a step ahead of where Batman is at this point.
I think so. Yeah.
You know?
She's been out in the streets a little bit longer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. She's been doing it for a little bit longer, and it's just I didn't see it coming whenever she was talking whenever she started talking about it. You know how that was her dad. It was like, holy shit.
Right.
Man, that's pretty heavy, you know? See, and then again, John Turturro brought more of the, I think, the more grounded, because he was a more mature actor. I think that you have to fit into the role automatically. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like gotta work, like Jeffrey Wright. Now, Colin Farrell,
Unrecognizable.
100%. That's the only thing.
And
I
did a
can
great
say.
job.
Fucking awesome
And
job.
I kind of like this version of the Penguin.
Yes, he's more the mobster,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean he's vicious. He looks like, he just looks the part of
He
that
does.
that kind of, and you cannot fucking tell it's him. And I think that is great because they created a whole completely new person with practical effects and special effects. Fucking Colin Farrell is playing that shit.
Right.
I mean, it was just amazing. It was really good. His voice, everything that he did. Again, another mature role, which you have to step into it and you got to nail it. You know, I really think so.
I
like
agree.
the Batman can grow. And that's what I really think emo Batman, Pattinson, did. I don't care, Dad.
Well, it's weird because his Bruce Wayne was based off Kurt Cobain.
Really?
Yeah. Which you kind of see because he's really kind of just angry and quiet and sullen.
Yeah,
to
but
some degree.
was Kurt Cobain like that? I think he
I think
was
at
happy.
times.
Yeah, I think he was really happy,
He
like
wasn't too happy
with everybody. Yeah. Well, he didn't win.
No.
But yeah, of course, they play the Nirvana song. You know, one good thing about that is my son started listening to Nirvana now.
Oh, really?
I was like, wow, that's
Nice.
cool. And yeah, I could see that. To where it's more, I don't know, low key, unhappy, still don't know where you are. You don't want anything that's being given to you. You want your own way. And back to Colin Farrell, his character was it wasn't over the top, which was the great part.
I think that was the best part about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, oddly enough, the only real character that I liked in that Gotham show was the guy that played the Penguin in that.
Really?
Robin Lord Taylor, I think. He did an amazing job. Totally different kind of penguin.
Really?
You know what I mean? But still great. And
But it wasn't the.
It was like him rising up to power, though. You know,
Oh, kind of starting in the
like
underworld and
starting
going
as
up.
a jackass and moving his way up. Yeah.
Gotcha. See, of course, with the Burton one, you get the baby born with a deformity,
Right.
You know, from a rich family, gone, and then we didn't have it in Nolan's. We only had Burgess Meredith before that,
Which was great.
Yes, he's the best. And
Whoever knew he was going to train Rocky?
No shit, right? You're a bum, Rock.
You're a bum, Bruce.
I just, you know, it was really cool to see. It honestly, seeing Colin Farrell and all that stuff, it was just like, holy crap, that was just really well done.
Yeah.
He did a really good job in the role. So I think, again, established. I think he's just gonna grow.
Well, I think we're getting that Penguin show on HBO Max
Right.
that they talked about. I also I didn't know that they're going to do an Arkham spinoff as well, which should be interesting. And that's something we can talk about too, because did you notice his mother's maiden name was Arkham, right?
Yeah.
Part of the story. That's from Batman Earth 1,
Oh shit.
which was a graphic novel.
That's yeah. The whole Falcone thing with Thomas Wayne helping him, and then kind of getting some respect, and then getting extra money, and then being like "fuck you," and then like, nah, fuck you. But they don't say that that's really it. They're kind of like, well, it could have been something fucking totally random, you know. But well, I mean. Could they have been killed by it, or could have been just like a actually random Joe Chill? You know what I
Right.
mean?
I like that they left it open, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
even though it does kind of seem like maybe Falcone did.
you would think so.
But I like how he even tells them the story that somebody, the other guy did it.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, and
which is what somebody would say.
right, exactly. He was lying about all the killings that he did.
Right.
Killing Catwoman's mom.
Yep.
You know. Okay. The Riddler.
It was the Long Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to remember what comic that was where he helps Falcone, and that's it. Long Halloween.
I started reading that one not too long ago, but
Well,
I didn't finish.
there's a 2-parter animated movie you can watch for free on HBO Max, and I would recommend doing that.
I've only watched the first part of it. I don't even think all the way through part 1. So,
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. the comic's better,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Just like Hush and everything.
Just like every movie.
Yeah. Okay, the Riddler. Paul Dano.
Yeah. I think it was a good casting. He was... I bought him as a character that could lead a bunch of people in an internet forum to do something crazy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was kind of very unassuming, outside of wearing the mask
Right.
and all that.
Right. But it was almost kind of like he was being the Riddler Joker.
See, I didn't think that. I thought he was more of being I don't know. Everybody makes the Seven comparison. I don't buy that.
Yeah. Okay.
I
gotcha.
I get it.
Yeah.
But
He was just like
more
guys
like
are so
Saw
good. Okay.
to some degree.
Okay.
Regardless, I thought it was he did a good job. It was a different kind of Riddler, obviously.
100%.
You know,
It's kind of more rageful,
Yeah.
but very smart.
and you know, really felt like he was doing the right thing
Yeah.
for the city and for the people. You know,
Yeah, he wanted to expose all the lies and all the
Right.
bullshit. And then you thought the whole fucking time he was like, I know who you are.
right?
And even whenever he told him, he was like, oh shit, he doesn't fucking know who I am.
right.
Yes.
Score.
Yes. I thought that was just a great realization because I realized it at the same time, which was really cool. He was like, it was like everybody that was really paying attention, was, he fucking doesn't know. I think, again, the only reason why I bring up that comparison is because the internet videos and we're screaming and stuff like that. And I don't see the Riddler really doing that, maybe. I don't see him dancing around twirling Jim Carrey shit either, but
I think you could go either way. I mean, it's all interpretation. You know what I mean? So I think the characters definitely through comics has been both of those people. You know, It's been a long time he's been a character.
100%, yeah. They bring in the big hitters, the big villains in most of the movies. There hasn't really been any kind of like side villains.
Well, unless you count, you know,
Scarecrow.
the entirety of Batman on Ice.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. We don't discuss that one, remember?
Oh, I forgot. Obviously, the other big casting, Andy Serkis.
That was the last one, and again, I'm gonna say it. It's an established person with a huge backstory. Not just because he's old. You got to step into the role, and you have to be it from the beginning.
Right.
There's not a lot of extra growth. There's just a lot of teaching in those characters like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they still grow, but not in the same way. They're like, fuck, I already know a shitload of stuff. Was he SAS or something? You know?
He had to have been, because that's the story. That's
Okay.
Alfred's deal, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought he did a good job. And that's I was thinking about that too after the fact, after watching the movie. I don't think I disliked an Alfred.
No. Even in the Snyder League,
The Snyder League?
he was pretty.
Batfleck, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it, Michael Ironside?
No. That'd be awesome.
I know, right?
I'm sorry, Master Bruce. Yeah, who was... Anyway, yeah, I don't think there's been a bad Alfred. You know, they never bring in fucking the Aunt. Aunt May.
What was her name?
Fucking, what was it?
The
on
one they had
66?
to bring in, there was a reason they brought her in the show.
Oh, it was,
Yeah, I think it was something to do with, so people didn't think they were gay or something. I don't remember.
Probably.
I don't remember.
Knowing old TV like that, Red Skelton was all like,
Red
no.
Skelton.
Milton Berle was like, I'm dressing
I don't
like
know,
a
but
queen.
Red Skelton has been said more than once today, and
I
that's
know.
funny.
Comedy comes in threes.
That's true.
Again, Paul Dano, I think...
Jeremy Irons, by the way.
Yeah. Jeremy Ironside. I think that the character hopefully gets a little bit more because he was really believing. Again, most of villains believe in what they're doing. 100%. You know, it wasn't really a game to him. It was like, I'm going to take you to the finish and I'm going to destroy you. You know, so it's really cool that he kind of already started playing with the Batman.
Right.
And there was other people. There was the fucking Riddler gang.
Yeah. Well, I thought that, and that's another thing that I really liked the way this movie did that. There was a reason for there to be a gang of people.
Right.
And it made sense in today's rhetoric even.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is how there would be thugs.
Yeah.
This is how you have your team.
You have your fringe people that are really into that kind of. They're like ready to pop. They want to pop instead of going out and doing it as alone.
Now they're part of something.
Yeah, so they have somebody to stand behind. That's the key.
They're part of something.
When you're watching it and you're reading the comments, they're like, "You can get that mask at blah blah blah," and it was like everybody was finding where to get that shit. Yeah, and it was just a big, massive kind of a deal at the end, which was really fucking cool.
I thought that was neat though, because I think that like if we would have had the Riddler and he had like 20 thugs with him, he'd be like, "Where the fuck did he get money to have these thugs?"
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like this made more sense for those people. Like they're all like-minded.
Yeah. So that's going to be like a newer faction. It's like, hey, we're the Riddlers, so whenever he gets out, somehow he'll come find some of us and then we'll, put up his money. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. You know what? Everybody in the movie was really good. I think Pattinson's got a pretty awesome future as Batman. Yeah, and Zoe Kravitz too as Catwoman. They don't necessarily have to involve her in it, every bit of what they're doing, but they will because she's pretty popular. She'll be in everything, and we'll probably see her be good and be bad and whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Especially for as, again, early in their careers as they are.
Yeah, and then having an Alfred that's a freaking badass is going to be a different kind of dichotomy too, because, you get the old man, you get it's just, some of them are pictured a little weird, but the comic books, especially in that Scott Snyder run, they really kind of get into his backstory at one point.
Right.
Where they, his father was basically alive when Bruce was like a year old or something like that and had to take over. It's a weird little story that they had there, which they're never going to make an Alfred movie. You know what I mean?
Made an Alfred TV show, Pennyworth. And it's really good.
I know. And they won't make a movie. If they did, it would be awesome if it was Kingsman. Or in the style of Kingsman.
Well, that's kind of how the Pennyworth show is.
Oh,
Have
for
you
real?
watched that?
No.
Oh, dude, that like every episode's like a cinematic masterpiece.
Cool.
I think.
Okay, I gotta watch it.
I think really it's filmed really well. I like the actors are good. Yeah.
Cool.
A couple seasons for you to watch.
Yeah, nice. But I think overall the casting was really good. Even the ancillary characters were decent. There wasn't anything where I was like, Paul Dano probably out of everything the weakest.
Okay.
I think that was my real opinion.
I think just him, I think he was playing a different kind of Riddler, and I think he did a good job of playing that character. That was a little more dipped in reality, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you said, not spinning his staff around and whatever.
Prancing.
Yeah.
I'm the Riddler, boys.
So I like that. What did you think about the Batmobile?
Oh, man.
The Bat Charger.
That was so awesome.
I loved a couple things about it. One, again, it's early on. So he doesn't have like a full-on Batmobile.
Right.
You can tell this is like a work in progress, and he's working on it.
Yeah.
Like in the old stories, you know what I mean? Before there was like a Lucius Fox, or I can't remember. I think it was back in the 70s or 80s that they had the mechanic guy. There's been a story or two with him in there.
Okay.
It may have been even in the 90s. I don't remember. But before there was really a Lucius Fox in the capacity that he is now.
Yeah.
So I like that he was like working on it himself. I like that it was more realistic, and I love the fact that it had the rocket.
Yes.
The jet engine in the back.
The actual jet engine in the back that you could tell, or it looked very, very cool the way it could work.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, not just that, but paid a little homage to the 60s show, too.
Yeah,
you know?
And in 89, too, it kind of... That freaking thing was a beast.
Yeah.
It was like a I don't know, even the frame and everything, I don't know how he would have built it so fucking tough, you know?
Yeah.
And it really didn't get beat up too much, but it was really squishy. You know what I mean? Whenever he would turn and they would jump, and it really had these really like bouncy. It was very bouncy. You could tell that it was just like you said, work in progress, which was really cool. So especially like whenever it jumped, it looked real when it landed. Right. You know, so it wasn't like a Dukes of Hazzard stunt. You know,
it would have been great though if the camera would have panned around about 90 degrees.
Yes,
and been like, well. Bruce Wayne is in a heap of trouble, stickier than molasses.
I thought the car chase was really good.
Oh, it was super good. God. It was super good, and like the way it was filmed was great.
Yeah.
And then I know we'd seen the scene before, but the scene where Penguin's upside down and he's walking out of the fire, pretty much. Right. I mean, what a cool scene, dude.
Dang. Yeah, I know, and because he's like, fucking, I beat him. And he, no, you didn't.
No, sir.
The timing didn't really work because Colin. Next time you watch it, you'll notice that it's a few more seconds later.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it doesn't really match up, but it makes sense,
right?
In a weird way, which I thought, it was just overall, it was badass. It was real because he was riding just a regular old motorcycle. Was no super cycle,
right? Right.
It was just a regular motorcycle that he was getting around in broad daylight, and just putting on a helmet and then changing in the bathroom,
right, or the alley or something.
Hold on, sorry, I'm in here.
Not hockey pads.
They're not hockey pads. Where's Rachel?
I think that's another thing that I liked is that we didn't have that weird voice.
No.
You know what I mean?
Didn't have to. Yeah.
No.
Didn't have to kind of, because this was him just, coming back. And like you said, he wasn't a philanthropist yet, which I thought them not having, Wayne Manor in this was unusual. And he was living in an apartment in the middle of the city, at the heart of the city.
Right, in the Wayne building, right?
And literally right by the alley where his parents were killed. Right. So it's like, holy shit. And the convergence that they had, like I was saying about the other one, everything kind of meets there. It's a huge metaphor for the whole world meets where Batman is, Right. Everybody's a part of it. There's just different branches. Him going into the whatever tunnels and everything like that, kind of in and up there, right in the middle, because it was on Wayne tracks and everything.
Right,
it was crazy, just really cool. And I mean, their houses and the architecture was old, but it wasn't really. It was 70s gritty, It was. You could really tell that it had been lived in. Riddler's place, even the freaking bar was kind of small, and nothing was over the top in this movie.
Nothing was corporatized.
Right. They weren't selling Pepsi or Doritos. You know what I mean? They weren't at that level yet.
They were selling Little Caesars Batzonis. Which is a real thing you can get from Little Caesars right now. Dang,
I'm going to go get some Batzonis. But Batzones, like calzones with bats.
Yep, it's a calzone in the shape of a bat. Yeah.
Nice.
But they call it a Batzoni because it's Little Caesars.
Yeah, pizza.
Yeah. Weird.
Said it just like him.
You did. That's really the only cross-promotion thing I've seen.
Yeah, I like that they kept pretty much everything under wraps.
Agreed.
They didn't blow it up. For one, they have the what would you say? Batman has the credibility to not throw on every mug, and they did that in '89.
Right.
You know what I mean? He doesn't. You don't need to have.
You're not going to get the McDonald's cup.
Yeah, or the
5 different pictures.
Yeah, the Michael Keaton Batman logo endorsed freaking car mats. You know?
Exactly.
You don't need that shit. This one, they really played everything really close to the chest on it, as far as like, let's not give too much away, but give them everything. You know, already established. This is a brand new. You get to see, you know, him kind of. I don't know. It was just weird. He found out about his father, so there's nothing that's really going to be kind of holding him back anymore from being who he should be. And Alfred being that character that's like, I'm going to teach you, really did offer credence, you know what I mean, to the whole thing.
I'll tell you that part where Alfred's in the hospital. I was like, man, Bruce Wayne's a dick. Like, this guy's like been knocked out and whatever, like, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
And as soon as he wakes up, he's like, you're a dick. What?
I hate your dad. You're not my real dad.
I'm Bruce and your dad and I'm out of here.
Yeah,
you're not my father.
See, and that's where he's got to learn.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think they had that teaching moment in there. You know, that learning moment in there, so that we can see that character be a different character when he comes back. If they do it in a second movie,
right?
What would you do in a second movie?
Another detective. This one was very detective.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I liked it so much, because I don't think we've really gotten that out of any of the other Batman movies to the degree this one was, for sure.
Maybe if they did something like The Long Halloween.
Well, I don't think you can do that now.
I
think a lot of this story drew off of that.
I think if
in my opinion.
I would like to see, again, kind of like a multi-layered story. They don't have to have 8 different villains.
No,
you know, you don't even have to have one.
Well, I think you can do, like, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I think now that you've established your world, you can have a backstory about what's going on with the Penguin now. Yes. While that's going on, if you wanted to. I guess we're going to get this show. Yeah. Whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, you could have him in the background working on something, maybe setting him up to be an upcoming, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like big thug. And then you could bring in just one new person, you know, one new baddie.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know who I would want it to be, though.
It's going to be Joker.
I don't think so.
I hope not. Even though Joker is his antithesis, his
sure
yin to his yang.
Yeah, his Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But before we get into what we would do next, let's talk about that deleted scene that we got. First of all, let's talk about the last scene.
Okay.
So the last scene where they're putting Riddler in, you know, he's in Arkham, and Batman has his interaction where he finds out, nope, he doesn't know who the fuck I am. Yes. Cool, I'm out of here. Yeah. And then we pan, and we don't ever really see him.
Right. But you know it's the Joker.
Right.
Silhouette, color hair,
laughing like a maniac.
Yeah, exactly.
As you do. I'll be honest, I was like, okay, all right. I'm fine with that. There was no reason for it, but sure.
Yeah.
But now we're establishing that Arkham has a bunch of crazy folk in it. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Then the deleted scene came out. What'd you think?
I didn't watch it.
No? Very Silence of the Lambs.
For real?
100%. So Batman comes to Joker in Arkham and gives him a file about the Riddler. And he makes a comment, oh, it's our paper anniversary, and because it's papers, the file that he's handing him, which is their 1 year anniversary. So obviously he'd caught him the year prior.
Oh, gotcha.
And he's like, you're usually so good at this stuff, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like an interaction, like him trying to get him to help him with Riddler's
like a Lecter thing.
100%. Okay. And I was kind of glad that it wasn't in the movie. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like, and I don't know how to say his name, Barry Keoghan. I'm probably ruining that. But he's the guy that plays the Joker.
Okay.
I thought he did a great job. And they've mentioned, I think it was Matt Reeves that mentioned that, like, his Joker's not like a normal Joker. He didn't just like fall in some acid and, He was like born fucked up, you know.
Okay.
But he was obviously looked like he'd been like burnt or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I thought of the Doomsday Clock version of Joker.
sure.
Just I saw that the kind of rounded off nose, the things like that. I was like, oh shit, that's him.
That Barry Keoghan guy he was in Dunkirk. I don't know if you saw that. He was also Druig in Eternals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Same guy
Yeah.
that's playing this
Okay.
Joker character.
Okay.
I just don't know how to say last names often.
Yeah.
So if I ruin that, get at me, Barry.
Sorry.
So, knowing that, what would you move forward with?
Because we already got a Ra's al Ghul. Not into partners up until this point. Wouldn't introduce a Robin.
Not yet.
No.
You could do that maybe in a third movie if you wanted to.
Possibly.
You know, depending on like how they pace the movies and like how far
how
apart,
many years?
right? How far apart they are between, and I don't mean years in real life, but years in the movie world.
Right. Well, okay, so we've already established the 3 big bads that Batman, or the 4: Catwoman, Penguin, Joker, and Riddler.
Sure.
Okay, so those are the biggest ones.
That's what's out there right now that we know exist.
Those are the biggest ones that Batman has throughout his whole kind of deal.
Sure.
The worst villains. Okay, so you wouldn't do Scarecrow
Because of the Nolan movies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wouldn't do that because that's already done. It was done very well.
It was done very well. That was probably one of my favorite things about those movies.
Yeah. Ra's al Ghul. You wouldn't want to do him again.
Not yet.
Maybe later,
Yeah.
but that would have to be with a more mature Batman.
Sure.
Like a 35-year-old Batman. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
It's like, holy shit. You wouldn't bring in the Damian Wayne shit.
No. Well, you're not going to have anything with any Robins, so...
Yeah. You would
That's
never
out.
have... Yeah, I just don't know who...
So, like, So, here's what I would want to start out with. He wouldn't be the main bad, but I would want it to be Zsasz.
Okay.
Victor Zsasz.
Okay.
And that's who he, like, maybe goes after and catches or doesn't catch at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
But I would still want another bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like the main antagonist of the movie.
Yeah,
But I think
yeah.
that's a good way to work Zsasz into the story, so you have him as canon.
Yeah. It
And
would
then-
be cool.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just a side story. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like a lot of the movies have that, you know,
Yeah.
without over killing everything.
Right. They can catch the first bad guy within the second act.
Yeah.
And then the third act is who
Even
Yeah.
you might even catch the bad guy in the first.
right.
The initial one. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
That could be a good full chunk of movie anyway.
Right. And then while that's going on, while he's hunting him, these other things are happening and he's picking that up. You know what I mean? But I don't know what that looks like. I wouldn't want to do like Killer Croc. Clayface? Clayface would look cool with the CGI that's out there now. Maybe you could do something cool.
I don't think this world lends to it.
I'll buy that.
Yeah,
I'll buy that. Or at least not yet.
Yeah, not yet, because just like Killer Croc.
Yeah.
You wouldn't put him in there just in the reason that it would not be right in that kind of world. Those more animated kind of characters. You don't bring Harley Quinn into some shit.
No.
Maybe you do. Maybe you do a 3-villain freaking arc where you have the Penguin and you have Joker and the Riddler together.
Well, maybe this for a second movie. I don't think we need to start getting all those folks together just yet. This isn't Batman 66 where they're like hanging out in a submarine.
Yeah, they can dehydrate people into pink sand.
Right. But no.
What?
So you have the Zsasz story.
Yeah.
You have Penguin interacting with maybe the mob and all the crime lords, and kind of working his way through that as a back end story. I just lost my thought.
You gave me a thought. It's like you threw me one.
Cool.
No joke. The Penguin is going to be the bad guy throughout all three. That's it. So you got to think about it. Batman's just growing. Mm-hmm. The Penguin's always going to be there.
Sure.
You're not going to really know if he's pulling a lot of the strings, but by the third one, you're going to know he's the one that's been orchestrating everything anyway.
Right.
Because we haven't had that big of a deal about the Penguin, and he's pretty vicious in this. And
he's ballsy.
Yes, 100%. So he's already been a bad guy in this, but he was a second fiddle bad guy, or third.
Right.
So the second one, more involvement of the Penguin rising to power. At the same time, Batman is learning more.
Right. So yeah, that would be like the backstory going on, though. You know what I mean? Kind of the way it was in this one.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Penguins, it was a secondary.
The Penguins. The Penguin story wasn't the main story, like you said. It's a secondary story, and that's cool. So I would do that. I would catch Zaz, and I'm just trying to think who. I mean, there's a Two-Face out there. I don't want to get into that story yet.
Again,
Nolan did that pretty well.
Yeah. Again, in this world, I don't see it happening.
Oh, I could totally see Two-Face in this world.
I don't know.
But I think that it needs to be an older Batman first.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has to be the person that is Harvey Dent, too. It's got to fit in this world as far as like his acid face.
Oh, yeah. Well, you think about like what Nolan's looked like. It didn't look like the movie or like the current comic book at all.
No, it was unbelievable.
It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But there's no way.
Way better than Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, but he's got to carry around eye drops for Christ's sake. You know what I mean?
This is true.
Yes. It's all hit me with the eye drops, bud. Some dude's like, woot.
You're a long way away from Bane.
Yes, don't need Bane. Already had a badass Bane. That's it. That's a difficult one.
I mean, he's got a pretty large rogues gallery. I'm sure you could pull anybody out of it.
You definitely can, but it's got to be somebody that would fit into this world really well, I think.
Right.
Because they do have a big, giant sandbox to play in, but I think that they are, with each one of these movies too, I mean, you have a parameter that you don't really kind of go above. Like adding a Killer Croc in part 2 of this, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
Wait a minute, that
I would like to see a Man-Bat, but not yet. Not in these movies.
Yeah.
Or maybe not in the second movie. Because I think that's one thing, again, that this does really well is it's very grounded.
It's the detective part of it. It's the learning part of it.
But it's like a real world scenario.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not fantastical.
No.
At this point.
Yeah, he's just leaving these, the notes underneath things where he's got to find it.
Right.
And then he gets wise to it, and he's already knowing the riddles. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love the scene, the first crime scene we're in, where he walks in.
And everybody's, what the?
He's like, fucking freak show.
Yes.
But when he's like walking around and he points out to the one CI person, he's like, and he doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks, and she's like, "Oh," you know what I mean? Like they miss that.
Yeah,
you know,
he's already above their level,
right?
Just in figuring things out because he's really, he's fucking Batman. Okay,
Batman.
I guess we can kind of drift off a little bit.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want
from that part of it. The bat suit.
Thought it was good. I thought it was mobile.
Yes.
He could turn his head. That's always good.
He still kind of had the stiffness.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But not like Michael Keaton, 1989.
Oh, no. Yeah, like, gotta move my whole fucking body. Watch out.
I better spin around here.
No, I thought it was very. It didn't have the like Jim Lee kind of sleek look. It did have that actual body armor, everything awesome. So kind of like, I guess, the Arkham games.
Sure. The other thing that I liked about the Batman in this too was like when he's coming out of the shadows and you can hear his footsteps and how heavy they are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is he just back there like stomping?
Yeah. It's like, he's like a fucking, a cowboy.
Yeah.
He's the fucking Lone Ranger.
Vengeance.
Yes, exactly. Kring, 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 kring. It's pretty cool because he's building upon the suit, and he still has a utility belt, which is the utility belt. Yeah, it's probably nothing too crazy right now.
He had the batarang in his chest.
No shit.
I was like, whoa, all right.
Take it off. It's still there. And then the suit, though, to absorb freaking machine guns at 3 inches.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just, the cape wasn't too crazy. I mean, the gauntlets weren't too bad, but they were definitely, like, you could wreck some shit with everything that he had.
Like the little shootout things.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like very rudimentary things that, he was kind of learning. And then, of course, whenever he jumps off the roof and he's a fucking... he starts flying and shit.
And then he hits, like, that's one of the things I love.
Yes.
Like, he's not good at all this
No.
yet. I mean, he's, like, better than me.
Yes.
That's not saying much.
That was like the first time he did it.
And that's cool. Like, he miscalculated.
Yes.
Cool. And we saw the outcome of that was he got fucked up.
He's like, It just, that was the cool part too. He was very vulnerable. It wasn't like ultimate, like you can't really beat him. Even at the end when he practically fucking dies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he gets up and he's like, whoa, whoa, I mean, he has a Hulkamania moment.
So let's talk about that because there's some buzz. He shoots the green stuff into his leg.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it was just adrenaline or something, as you do.
Somebody think it was Bane Venom?
Venom, yeah. Which makes sense because in the Legend of the Dark Knight, he was addicted to it,
Okay. I could see that. Because I did notice it was green too. I was like, what?
It was just really awkward looking.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah, it was foreshadowing.
Maybe.
Ding dong.
That
Message.
would be kind of cool. Like, I think that's what they should do is pull some of those stories from Legends of the Dark Knights, which I think was a little more realistic anyways.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So they could do a Venom like that. They could do Prey.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah. And really have Bane be pretty intimidating.
Well, and have it be more of, I think more of like the detective side. That's what I felt like those comics were anyways.
Yeah.
Like they unfolded, what I mean? It wasn't like...
It took like 2 or 3 issues to really get to one major piece.
Right. And then, but then it was like, okay, this is, and like you said, it was more, whatever. Tired.
Yeah. But no, okay, his weapons in this too. Mm-hmm. I liked his, his grapple gun, grappling gun or whatnot. Right, sure. I mean, everything was really well done as far as like functionality.
Yes.
Like especially, getting shot by the machine guns, getting shot by the cops. I mean, he got the shit kicked out of him all the time. Yeah. So, and then he was just like, okay, hey, I'm here at the bat deal. And it was pretty cool that Gordon actually makes the bat signal. Right. And then has it somewhere completely else. And it's not on top of City Hall or whatnot. Right. The halls of justice.
Or whatever, yeah. Let's go up to the roof.
Let's go up to the roof and talk to him. It was totally separate, away.
We did have the turnaround moment, Batman's gone.
Yes. Yeah, the first one.
I was excited about that. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. Bringing a little bit of that in there. It did have the humor at the right spots. Yeah. So it wasn't overdone. It wasn't a Josh Whedon kind of a funny every other line type deal.
Sure.
It had the humor, and then you got to see the relationship between him and her. Even whenever he gave her the contact lens, you know, that again is another thing
that
from
was
the
some cool
books.
tech. Yeah, well, and I think that it was cool that I think people always wanted the visor, you know, to be that way.
Yeah,
this is like a step beyond that, in my opinion. You know?
This was that whole deal was in that that New 52 Batman.
Yeah.
They had that in there, and seeing that work, like, that was freaking awesome. But yet he was across the street, like doot 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 doot. He had like a fucking Moog synthesizer in front of him and shit, trying to fucking match shit. He's like, I got you now, you know, and for it to work later on too,
right?
It was really cool because it was mapping everybody. It was like super smart, so it was kind of getting all this information, telling her exactly, or telling him exactly who it was, everything like that.
Yeah,
pretty cool. And he could rewind shit, you know, and then rewatch it. He's like, what? He puts it on the fucking deal, and it like downloads the information.
Yeah,
damn,
that's cool.
Yeah. So
what a great way to pick up detail, right?
Yeah.
Like, not only I'm just going to watch everything I saw today.
Yeah.
In slow motion.
I'm going to rewatch that.
Let me put that at 0.5.
Enhance.
Enhance.
That's a really great thing for him too, as a character, to be able to watch his getting the shit kicked out of him a couple of times, you know, to be like, oh, okay,
what could I have
need
done
to do
there?
this, I need to do this. So yeah, it's like a great teacher.
And not only that, but like when he goes into a crime scene, think of how much more he probably picks up because he gets to look at it as it was.
Yeah.
You know, before everybody tainted it.
Yeah.
Started moving stuff around. He's got that ability.
Yeah. And they all treated him like shit. Everybody did.
Everybody but Jeffrey Wright.
Exactly. And then even whenever they brought Falcone out, it was like, I'm not the only one.
Right.
You know, so there's those other good cops that were there.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that were on the take and shit, which was like every fucking cop, and they were all connected to the Wayne Foundation shit.
Yep.
And it's like, holy crap. So yeah, no wonder the Riddler was kind of, like you said, he had a valid reason.
Right.
He was like Killmonger pretty much, in that way that he had a valid reason. He had stake in the game.
Right.
And it made sense for him to really kind of trigger the other shit, which, you know, again, like you said, part 2, they will show the, I don't know, him becoming a philanthropist.
I think so.
You know?
What about Mr. Freeze?
No.
Poison Ivy?
No.
Is he going to fight Superman?
Well, they could do a better job.
Too early.
Yeah.
He would die.
I think it should be Batman versus Gluten.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
The silent killer.
Yes, it is. It's one hell of a Batman story.
That's right.
Willing to be told. You know? ConAgra, you know, growing farms are going to get
Batman versus lactose intolerance.
I'm Batman. I eat fake cheese. It's not fake cheese.
Almond milk.
I'm not drinking almond milk.
Overall, I think the
where's the whole milk? Where is it? Where is it?
I think that was pretty much all of my notes. I mean, Alfred being a badass, though, that's a pretty cool deal that they're introducing to the movies.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend anybody that hasn't seen it to watch that Pennyworth show.
Yeah,
it's good. It's fun. It's a fun watch. But yeah, this I think again it was darker, grittier, I think, than any of the other Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, maybe not though. I mean, there were some pretty dark parts in the Nolan movies.
Well, yeah, whenever the fucking...
Like when everybody gets gassed.
Yeah.
That was pretty badass. Like that Scarecrow section.
And the whole fucking...
And the whole Joker, everything. You know.
Yeah.
Dark Knight's my number one by far.
Yeah, that's one.
That's a hard one to beat.
Yeah, one of the absolute best, superhero movies or comic book movies. Really, really good. Yeah, I can't wait to see what else they do.
Yeah.
And if they really stay true to themselves instead of money, which, like I said, Batman doesn't need another licensing deal.
Right.
None of these people do. They're all well off in what they're doing. It's just creating good stories.
Right.
And it'll be cool,
It's funny when the leak came out for the extra scenes. I read an article saying that basically Warner Brothers was afraid this movie wasn't going to make $1 billion, so that's why they released it, because they thought it might just fall short of the $1 billion mark. And I'm like, is that the standard now?
Billion?
$1 billion for a movie? I don't think it's the standard. That's still a pretty standout film, right?
Yeah.
I know Spider-Man, Endgame, those kind of movies.
Yeah.
Well,
that was like a freaking experiment that went right.
Yeah, that was the culmination of 10 years of movies. And then the Spider-Man movie, obviously, having all the hype around it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Not only that, but the new Spider-Man is a great movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it is.
But I mean, like, you've got a lot of popularity there, like with Tom Holland and Zendaya. But then, even with just the talk around it, even though I know that they cut him out of the pictures and everything of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire being in it,
Yeah. And again, I think, honestly, and I'm not kidding, I would say Garfield, I like him as Spider-Man almost like the best.
Okay.
I just think everything that he was like a Spider-Man. I don't know.
I just don't, and then this is weird because this is a Batman episode, but I don't think that they did, like, the first one was fine. The first Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The second one was garbage.
Wasn't that great?
Dude, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terribly done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, the actors were bad. I'm not saying anything. I just don't think that it was a clear vision.
No. No. I hope they're able to redeem it. Anyway.
But, over in DC.
Yeah. The budget for this movie was $185 to $200 million. So they don't really know.
That's not very much for a movie that you're hoping to make $1 billion with, I guess.
Box office so far, $679.1 million.
Yeah. It's a lot of money.
Well,
people made money.
So
craft services were good.
So it's pretty much tripled its money.
And it's still in the theater at this point.
Yeah.
I did see it got beat out this weekend by something, that Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum movie, The Lost City or whatever.
Channing Tatum. Yeah, no. What is that
it's like
shit?
a throwback Romancing the Stone style movie.
It is.
That's what it seems like to me. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. With Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he's in it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, go see it.
Yeah, check out the Batman. It was well worth it.
Yes, 100%. Very good movie. We didn't really spoil a lot of what it's like the story is, but we did spoil.
We did.
We spoiled the movie.
Big turns we still spoiled there. So
yeah.
Hope you've already seen it or don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the only way you care. And that's fine too. We're
works.
happy to help.
Well, this will be our first movie that's still in theaters that we have covered.
Besides Studio 666.
Yes.
But that wasn't its own episode.
That was on a quick cast. Yeah. So this will be the first one we've ever done.
But we've tried to still give it enough time to breathe.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was so sick of seeing stuff. Reviewing the movie a day after it was out, and I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. Like, even people that I do watch and listen to, I was like, nope, I'm avoiding all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hopefully it gave you enough time to, like, check it out beforehand.
Yeah. Shit, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
All 174 minutes of it.
Yep. And because there is no director's cut. This is the director's cut, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Or just let him make his movie.
Finally, somebody's actually doing that. They're like, you know what? You're making some money.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Well, and I think the reason why is that they didn't know if there was going to be a series, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Let him do his thing and see what comes of it.
Right. If they weren't banking on it.
Right.
You know? I mean,
but you got to know a Batman movie is going to pretty much make money as long as it's not garbage.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if I'd have gone in and watched some version of Batman and Robin when I came in to watch this movie, everybody that I know would have known about it. I would have been like, fuck that movie. Yes. Fuck that movie right in the asshole.
This sucks.
That was a little graphic. I'm sorry.
Well, I think, the whole time we've been doing this podcast, I think the last 2 years is whenever this movie was made. And we've talked about it all the way since then.
Absolutely.
Back in 2019, kind of being ready for it. There was no hype, really, for me. It was just like, that's going to be really cool. And then going into the theater and being like, oh, yep. You know what's weird, too? In the theater that I went and saw it, they had the sound jacked up so fucking high.
Yeah, that's a problem sometimes.
It hurt.
Yeah.
I put my sweater over my ears.
Really?
To be able to stand it. It was distorting. It was so loud. And I mean, you could hear like the gaffer up in the rafters in the movie be like, like, whoa, who farted? Oh, it must have been a gaffer. You know what I mean? Excuse me.
Well, the sound was really good where I was. The food was okay. And the heated seats were nice.
Yeah.
And the nice part is in those you can actually lift the middle thing so you guys can sit together in like a love seat style area.
Oh, hey.
We didn't do that much because they recline and they were comfortable, but
Exactly.
Towards the end, my wife's like, okay.
Yeah. Me and my wife would be separate, like, sorry, I'm waking up. Overall, good movie, great movie. I would give it a 4 out of 5, 100%. And really just, I don't know. I endorse it wholeheartedly.
I would give it an 8.7 out of 10.
Nice.
That's a high score.
Yeah.
And maybe upon viewing it, I'll give it a better review or a worse, review than that. But like on first watch, there wasn't much that I didn't like about it.
No, not really.
Colors,
the way the sets were, cinematography, editing, everything was really good.
Yeah, I liked it mostly because of the way it is.
Yep. I like it because it's a movie. I like movies. You should too. But yeah, no. If anybody out there has seen the Batman and has their own loudspeaker experience in the theater,
or if you just have an opinion,
yeah, let us know.
Yeah,
where are we at? On Gmail
at dropculturepodcast@gmail.com.
We have our own web address.
That is www.dropculture.com.
Just make sure you renew your AOL. We got pop-ups on there for renewing your AOL and
That's
Netscape
right.
service. Sponsored by
Netscape. And Lycos.
Yahoo! We're going to get flagged on fucking YouTube for that
We just
shit.
got in trouble.
Yeah. YouTube. Copyright infringement.
You can also check us out on the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Podcasters are us.
Yeah, the Thrifty Nickel.
Yeah, definitely in the Thrifty Nickel every month or 2
We're always
weeks.
in the classified ads too.
Yeah.
Still looking for,
Something.
another host. Just check out the Denver Post. Podcasters seeking other podcasters. No funny stuff. No fatties. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Peace.